what's up, everybody? It's your boy Checo G, aka El Buca 17. Today I got a little video for you guys. Today I'm reviewing the guns in the game, or pretty much just a nice little talk about what the deal is with these guns, and I'm gonna try to touch on the types of guns, the best PvE and PvP guns. I'm gonna talk about the Masterworks and that's pretty much it. Let's get into this though, and let me start by the weapon types. Now we have weapon types and we have archetypes. So the weapon types are kinetic, energy, and power, and the archetypes are all different. They're all different archetypes of guns. Um, Now, of course, not every gun is gonna be the most OP gun in the game, but with every single gun you can get kills with, as long as you're putting the time in and you want to get good with that gun, you will get good with that gun. I mean, you have to put the time in. I mean, there are some guns that you can instantly just show up and then cause fucking damage. But, what's the point of, going into a game and not learning, the other guns that you also purchased? So, but anyway, with all that said, let's get down to it. Let's start off with the kinetic weapons. Now, in the kinetic slot, there are a lot of OP guns. There's one that's meta right now, which is the Mida Multi-Tool. And I would say another gun that's actually pretty good is going to be the Vigilance Wing. But, every other exotic works just as good. But, the time to kill on these is very, very low. So, those are going to be your preferred choice. Like, let's say you're actually going into a competitive style of game like Trials of the Nine, then you would want to go with something that's a sure thing, and the Vigilance and Mida Multi-Tool are probably going to be your best bet on that. But I'm not saying those are going to be the only ones that can take you there, because they're not. Any of these guns here can take you there. You just have to put the time in to actually learn those guns. But anyway, every gun that I have here on my inventory is equipped because I use it in some way. That's why I have a lot of guns equipped. I mean, I don't use them all the time. I use them every now and then. Let's say if I'm gonna do a raid, like the Wardcliff, I don't use it all the time. I use it for raids. I use the Merciless for raids, and I also use the Legend of Acurus for raids and PvP. Like all those weapons I just mentioned, I would use them for PvP and the Colony as well. Like, they're for PvE pretty much. Everything else, like the number PvP, that's PvP. Straight up, you're gonna do well with this number, and this is a faction gun. This is a Future War Cult, so you have to wait. If you don't have it, you're gonna have to wait till Future War Cult the factions rallies come up to grab yourself one of those. If you don't have one, that is. But anyway, from the energy slot, there are a few badass exotics there. The Cold Heart is one of them. The Sunshot is another. The Cold Heart is a new type of weapon. It's a trace rifle, which is an archetype. It's a new archetypal weapon, which is trace rifle, and you have two trace rifle guns on Destiny, which is the Cold Heart, this one, and the Prometheus Lens, which is this one, which is fucking sick. But these guns are useful also in PvE. The Cold Heart and Prometheus Lens, and so is Sunshot. The Sunshot is very good in PvE, but it's also good in PvP. The Sunshot, I would say. Hand cannon wise, there's not many hand cannons that are really good in PvP, but like I said, you put the time in, you're gonna fucking be good with them in PvP. Alright, so I talked about PvE and how well these guns work for me in PvE. Now, let's talk about PvP. The Colony is perfect for PvP because you don't even have to be accurate and your grenade is going to hit your target, which is something that you know, of course, is going to be useful in the PvP because, you know, people are moving, jumping around, trying to get away from you, and they're probably going to do it if they're hunters. But anyway, so now personally, I like using swords and shotguns in PvP. Not so much rocket launchers, although they are OP. I mean, a rocket launcher, you can't go wrong with a rocket launcher in PvP. I try to use my sniper rifle often because I'm not very good at them, and I want to start getting good at it. So I have to practice in order to get good. I mean, I've been getting better and better every time, but I still need a lot of practice. Swords are actually very, very useful in PvE. In PvP, I mean, it takes some time to get used to it in PvP, but once you get it down, you'll be able to get the distance, the timing, and everything, and you'll be slashing and killing in no time. But like I said, you have to put the time in. Now, these are all my personal preference. These are all my personal preferences here. Every archetype of gun, although it may look similar in stats, it's not going to function the same because of the weapon, the way the weapon is built. Of course, they try to put some sense of realism in the guns and make them heavy and light. So you have to put in all that into perspective and also add that in there because even though a gun has shit stats like this gun, the Lincoln Green, people used to were hating on the Lincoln Green when it was first out, but the Lincoln Green is actually an extremely well built gun. I mean, it's light, it shoots fast, and you know this stat doesn't do it justice. It does not do it justice at all. These stats do not do it justice, but this is a great gun, and it's very underrated. There's a lot of other underrated guns here, but you know, everybody has their taste. You know, all I'm saying is that people should stop going by what other people are telling them. You know, people should just explore the guns. You know, you bought the game, so you might as well explore your guns, your options. And there's so many options, and I think that people are just overwhelmed and want to reduce it to just a few weapons that are good, which is not true. There's so many good guns in this game. So many good games. So many good guns. I haven't even showed you all the guns that you can possibly do. Right now, I'm only holding a lot of the guns that I normally use, that I'm always constantly using. And like I said, you know, for the raid, you want to go have some good power weapons. And the ones I recommend for the raid, Warcliffe Coil, Merciless, the Colony, Legend of Acarius, a shotgun, a sword. I mean, I recommend all that. All these right here are perfect for the raid. These guns, most of these guns are PvP. Most of these guns are PvP. This gun is more of a PvE gun. It's not, I mean, it's a fast rate hand cannon, but you know, you're gonna need to land a few shots to get your kill. So that's not a recommended PvP gun. I mean, now this one, you know, this is well recommended because it has that explosion at the end, and it'll help you damage the next opponent, the one nearby, which is cool. But you know, that's about it on this slot. Now, and like I said, kinetic slot, you know, there's a lot of these guns that you can use in PvP, like the Vigilance Wing, the Mida, Origin Story, another auto rifle. I personally I like this pulse rifle. I use it. I've been using it a lot. I love that archetype. It is a slow fire rate, but I think the power makes up for it, and I like it a lot. I actually like it a lot. Let's see what else we got. Well, I mean that's pretty much that. Let's look at these exotics. I am still missing one more exotic, which is the Jade Rabbit, but I pretty much have all of them already. Um, Now, out of all these exotics, I would say the most useful exotic would probably be the Wardcliff, because you can, well, I mean, if you have a Titan, you can spam reload, and or you could even glitch the rockets to make more rockets. So technically, the Wardcliff coil is the most useful exotic there is in the game. Now, the most OP in the history of Destiny has, in the history, yeah, well, pretty much has been the Prometheus lens, but that got nerfed, so it's not as good anymore. It's just not as good anymore. They need a, they need to give it, or I think they buffed him a bit, but they need to give it a nerf. They need to make it better, because it's not, it's not as good as it was. But I'm not another thing too. I'm not a good, not a big fusion rifle fan, so I'm not familiar with them. So I mean, I know the Merciless works well because I've used it in the raid, but that's all I use it for, really. If you're a fusion rifle fan, I would recommend trying them out. If you find something good. I know I've been getting killed with this thing in PvP, so it must be pretty good in PvP. And I know it's got those little tracer little grenades that follow you or whatever. But uh, there's not a lot of the exotics that are actually you know quite unique, but besides a few, like this one right here, the Colony. And I would say this is pretty unique right here, the Wardcliff. And of course the trace rifles are pretty unique. This tractor cannon is also pretty unique, but it just pointless. It just pushes people. It doesn't really hurt them critically or nothing like that. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much that. A quick that was pretty much a quick roundup of the weapons and whatnot. Like I was saying before, though, if you're gonna try out the game, try out all the guns. Try all the guns until you find the gun that you're most comfortable with. Don't listen to anybody. Don't listen to people tell you that this gun is this and this gun is that. Don't let people convince you to not use other weapons. Use the weapons. I mean, that's what they're in the game for. They're in the game for to be used, and a lot of them are underrated. A lot of them are not. They're not being used for I don't know what fucking reason. I don't know why people want to listen to other people when they give something negative about something like that. I mean, they're in the game for a reason because they can still kill. So you can definitely, if you like if you think a weapon looks really good and it has potential for you, and with your own hands, everybody as an individual thinks about what's best for them. So a person is not really gonna tell you, hey, this gun would work good for you because I'm thinking about what you do when you shoot. No, they don't. Nobody knows what you're thinking when you shoot. Only yourself. So, only you can convince yourself whether a weapon is good for you or not. So don't listen to people. Go with what you like. Go with what you feel, and you will get good with that gun. Just practice makes perfect. We've all heard that saying, and it's true. So, every gun every gun can have potential and can be good. It's just you have to work at it. You have to use the gun. You have to, get your kills in. You have to get used to the recoil, the handling, the movement, everything. And every gun, like I said, even though they may have the same archetype, the same stat rating or whatever, it doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. The guns are built every gun is built different, and every gun has a different function to it. So, and you have to figure that function out. If you don't figure it out right away, that means you're not familiar with it. So, you know, get familiar with it. So that's pretty much my advice with the guns. And you know, that was a little bit about the kinetic, energy, and power. Hope you guys got some information from that. You know, it's kind of all over the place, I know, but you know, I don't want to give you too much information because I want you to go in there and explore. If you have not played this game, you know, go in there and explore. You know, look at all the other guns, all the options that you have, and you will find that gun that's for you. I mean, everybody goes with the easiest way. Nobody wants to work hard anymore. Everybody wants to make it easier for themselves and go with those guns that are like, oh, you're gonna, it's fast. Time to kill is fast. I mean, the time to kill is slow on this game, and those guns that are like OP right now, they shorten that time a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. It's just like by a second or something, by a half a second maybe. But I mean, if you get good with the other guns, you won't die in a one-on-one situation. If you get good with them, that is though. If you get good with them, you're not gonna die. Only if you get good with them. Only if you practice with them. If you think that you're gonna go in there with a gun and say and say, oh, you know what, I like how this archetype, it looks like this and it looks like that, and you think you're gonna do good, and just because you lose one match with it, you already saying, oh, this sucks, then you know I don't know, there's something wrong with you, or you don't have no patience, because that's not how it works. You know, if you can't get even one kill, you know, maybe you should work on your skill, you know. But that's pretty much that's pretty much all I can give you. You know, for information, you know, everything else, you know, I would recommend checking it out for yourself. All the guns I showed you are all personal preferences. All the guns that I have are guns that I know that I would use in the raid and in PvP. So I keep all the guns that I need on me at all times. So pretty much those are all the guns that you want on you. I mean, at least for me, that is. I mean, you are probably going to have a different set of guns in your inventory, but that's all good. And, I mean, you're still going to have one or two of these guns in your inventory because they're just, like, it's kind of like a mandatory thing in the PvE. So, in certain situations, if you want to kill certain bosses fast enough, then you're going to need certain weapons. And I do recommend being on the hunt for those, because they're gonna be useful. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the information I can give you on weapons and types and archetypes and all that. You know, I'm not gonna go too in depth in archetypes. I'm not gonna go too in depth in what the weapons do and show you these weapons, because you know, I want to leave that sense of you know, finding something up to you. You know, up to the individual. I'm not going to tell you, hey, don't use that gun because it's shit. Because, you know, I don't know. I mean, people used to talk shit to me for using Lincoln Green, and now everybody's like, oh, it is good. It is good. Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but I told them so. They just didn't want to believe me because the stats look like shit. And it's like, you know, why don't you reserve your opinion until you use it? If you haven't used it, then why are you giving me your opinion? So, you know, it's like you have to use them before you give an opinion. And you know, this is one of those guns that is just very underrated, and it looks like shit, but it's really good. And but anyway, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the guns. If anybody's got any other questions about the guns, anybody wants some in-depth detail about a certain gun, I can give you a little more in-depth detail about it. But as for now, it's just a quick review on these guns and my take and my thoughts. You know, like I was saying, Masterworks, the whole Masterworks deal, to me, you know, I don't find it very useful because it doesn't boost your gun up significantly. It will give you maybe a 10 ability boost. I mean, there are several boosts you can get, but I mean, you know, it's you're not gonna get the one you want. Like you can re-roll these too. So, you know, eventually you will. But it takes a lot of shit. Like it takes 25 legendary shards. It takes 10 master cores. It's kind of hard to find the master weapons. It's been kind of difficult for me to find a lot of master weapons, but you know, it's all good. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Masterworks. I don't really, you know, it's not that I don't really see a big deal about it. Like, you get 10 bonus points for whatever. I mean, it may make the difference. It may not make the difference. I mean, whatever helps though, right? So, you know, whatever's clever is better. So, you know, with all that said though, I hope you guys got some information from that. I hope you guys learned something from that, and I hope you apply that to your own gaming or to your own you know, life and destiny or whatever. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys on the next one, and I'll be posting up more videos on you know, more Destiny stuff, and hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.